Let's talk a little bit about your hat, because we're kind of going to get into that. Explore My Town. Tell me about that, and then we'll get into what we're going to talk about.
Sure, man. So, some people know my story. Some people don't. I've been doing this for 20 years, right? Real estate and such. Before that, I was a network engineer, all in the .com stuff. And, 5, 6, 7 years ago, I was training, building more GCI. I was at the market center and stuff. And, I find that people, not just agents, but agents in particular, because that's what I was coaching, but people have a propensity to not do what they're supposed to do or what they're told, or they pay for coaching and then they don't do it. And what I was training at the time was, hey man, do more video. I met Michael Thorne. It was 2016, I think it was. And he was showing me what he was doing. And I was like, wow, that is the way. Right. And so I started to help agents instead of so much, tell them what to do, help them do it, right? And prepare those strategies and things like that. And it's morphed from there. But what Explore My Town does is blends a bunch of different things. That it blends your video, which you're supposed to be doing, social media, which, we're all addicted to. And the most important thing, I think, in all of our businesses, which you and I are here as a result of, is networking, right? And so now you're able to, what Explore My Town does, brings them all together and gives you, the agent, a tool to be able to go out there into the community and build relationships and have conversations, which at the end of the day, it's the conversation that starts the whole ball in motion. And that's what we're able to do easily.
Got it. All right. So now let's get into what we're going to talk about, which is all about content and video. I think the world that we're in right now in social media revolves around video, and we're seeing more and more shortened video.
Yeah.
Even though TikTok's going up to 3 minutes, we're still seeing most of those videos being about a minute or less, right?
Mm-hmm. It's funny because it's the never-ending argument, and I think you have to do all of it. You're going to have YouTube is still a factor, so you got to do some longer things there, right? So you have to have a multi-pronged approach. Everybody should be doing reels every day. Reels is free marketing, right? You do reels, it goes to Facebook, right? You do reels on Facebook, it goes to Instagram. So everybody should be doing that. Stories are cool, but they go away unless you archive them, anything else like that. So while you're on these platforms, short form, man, the human mind, when we talking about putting videos together, we talk about the first 7 seconds of the video being the most important, right? So the more impactful that you can say your message in a shorter period of time, the more impact it can have, right? You're in and out because people are they're just scrolling, right? They're just mindlessly scrolling. When they go to YouTube is intentional, right? They're typing something in. When they go to Google, they're typing something. It's intentional. Your short form, I feel, should be more not so much intentional, but that's the big net that throws it out there. And then there's a way through that, right? Especially link in bio, click on my YouTube, right? Click on my link tree in bio, right? And then you can drive them to wherever you want them to go. Short form is the top of the funnel that should drive them to that longer form, in my opinion.
All right. So then let's dive into that aspect of it, because as you're building out this amazing company that's on your hat there, I want to know what agents should be doing, or just business owners should be doing, to build the brand of trust.
It's the C word, man. Consistency. If you're consistently doing it, consistently being seen, people are building a likeness to you, right? You ever have a TV show that you're like, you can connect with the character? It's almost the same thing. When people are seeing you over and over, they're connecting with you. That whole trust wall is coming down. So when you get to have the conversation or meet with somebody, that trust wall is gone. So the key is coming from contribution, right? Cliche saying, but it's so powerfully true. Come from contribution, be a servant type leader, if you would, connect in the community, because no matter what you do in your community, if you're there just to get paid, they're going to sniff you out. If you're there to help and contribute and to build relationships, which is the goal, right? Which is the goal, then you're going to be welcomed with open arms, and there's going to be plenty of business there.
Right? I have a question, Johnny Mo. Do you have a podcast? Because I love your accent. Well, let's get into the consistency part, because
Sure.
the way we've done it over the last just couple of years, even better than what we've been doing in the past, is we've been able to leverage it out to in-house staff and outsource it to virtual assistants. So that means the things that we're putting out there, they're getting diced up, they're going deeper, and then repurposing it in so many different places. And that really helps us out. How are you doing it? How are you showing up consistently?
So for us, for our partners, we do something similar. If you would, we create the main video, the longer form video, 3 to 5 or 7 minutes, depending on what it is. I like fast moving, quick, right? I like 15 seconds, we're moving on to something else, right? And you know, because if you give anybody carte blanche to talk, they can be long-winded. So that's why when I write in the scripts, I'm like 30 seconds, 60 seconds, 90 seconds, right? In each particular area. What we're doing is we're taking the longer form video, and then we're cutting it down to a 1 minute impactful piece. And then we're taking that and turning it into repurposing it for reels, 9x16. We're repurposing it 1x1 so we can use that in LinkedIn and probably in Instagram and inline feed if you want. And you can use the 9x16 and TikTok as well if you want. And we also do it this way because what I find is one of the most powerful places that you can be posting for long term, people aren't doing, and that's Google. So you put it on whatever Google calls themselves this day for our business listings, right? Next week, it'll be something different. You can take a 75 meg video, 1 minute long, upload it, write a blog or an article, if you would, up to 1,500 characters, put a link to your Facebook, right? Or not to your Facebook, to your YouTube or the landing page that you're talking about. So now here's Google, the #1 site in the world. Instead of it going out finding your content, you're injecting it right into it, right? And now that can help drive traffic to the other places. So that's what we do. We try to get all the pieces come into 1 or 2 central areas where we can capture them, or where they can see. Or on YouTube, you can have websites down in your description. So now that can be piece of the funnel where they're going to take the next step and go search for homes for sale, search for businesses in the area, search for whatever fun to do in your town. So that's how we do it. We take the big pieces, break them down into small pieces, put them across all the different platforms, change them up a little bit with different templates and things, and try to get that engagement. Realistically, what we want is somebody to be like, oh my God, that's so cool. Don't you think so? What's your favorite part? And engage in that conversation, because it's the conversation that leads to the relationship, which leads to further business.
What would you say for content where people can start, or business owners can start when it comes to content? Because with Explore My Town, I do see the different business owners that are part of it. They go into, it's almost like niche, right? They pick their areas, and then they talk about those areas. Is that where you want people to gravitate to and start, or should they start with relationships that they have? Where do you send them to?
That's a great question. So just to give a quick explainer about why we do it the way that we do it, is because in order to build a system, you need to have boundaries, right? So we put boundaries on it, and that's why we do it the way that we do. That way we can put people through the system. It's the same manual for everybody, right? It's the same training for everybody. And we deviate from that. That is our suggestion. This is our suggestion to get started. Tristan, every single day, and this is what I tell my partners, every single day you're having a cup of coffee or a juice, or you're going out for lunch, you're going out for dinner, catalog this stuff. If you're going out for coffee, stop going to Starbucks, stop going to Dunks, stop going to the name brand places, and start going to Tina's Bean or Joey's Coffee Shop or Gina's Drive-Thru, right? And get the coffee. And then you can say, hey guys, I can't start my day without this Tina. Or, hey, every time I'm in the area, I love to get my Tina's Bean coffee, right? They roast the beans here fresh every Tuesday and Friday. And they also have organic treats and stuff like that. Come check out Tina's Bean over on Main Street. They're in the second building in the back. Something along those lines, right? I just spitballed that. I just came up with that, right? I told you about that story. Everywhere we live, there's history. So you could start a history series, right? And say, hey, did you guys know that in 1782, this happened right here? And you're standing there with the marker in your background. Just don't make it any of the difficult situations that we're dealing with, right, in society right now. Make them fun and engagement. It's real simple. tell stories of other people. It's hard to talk about ourselves. And as like, let's take real estate agents. The only thing we know to talk about is real estate. And so in the market and stuff like that. But if you can tell stories of other people, places, or things, you have an endless amount of content, right? If you own a business, what's your favorite part of the business? What's the client's favorite part of the business? What do you do? What is your inspiration? Right. So it's limitless what you can do. Let's take restaurants, for instance. Who's got happy hour? Who's got the best chicken wings? Who's got awesome burgers? Who's got, happy hours? Who's got entertainment? You could be the information source. And that's the goal, I think, for us, is to become an information source, because video lives on forever. It lives on forever in YouTube and Facebook Watch, and these other places. It can live on forever. Right? You can take the videos, you can put them on your website, you can put them into video newsletters, right? Your newsletter goes out, you can put them onto blogs. Now, all of a sudden, your video, again, it's just a tool. It's not the be all end all. It's not the means. It's just a tool, is now being distributed across these multiple places. And you can segment that, like on YouTube, you can create it into playlists if you want, right? And now all of a sudden you got history, around town, happy hours, who's got the best entertainment, and now all of a sudden you're starting to build a series of these different things that people really are interested in.
Got it. All right. So then how are you using Google? Because you brought up Google before we went into this. How are you using Google to make this more of a lasting effect so people can then find you over a longer period of time? Because social media kind of dies out at a certain time, right? You post it up on Facebook, it's gone. Instagram, TikTok, it's the next best thing. How are you doing this long term?
We do our best with SEMrush and TubeBuddy and all the other tools to come up with keywords or rankings or search terms. Keywords Everywhere is a great one, and that works. What I didn't realize until about a month ago is that you can actually have go to Instagram and find out which hashtags are trending and upwards, downwards, what the search volume is. Then you go in and you try to find something, 3 or 4 or 5 key phrases. Then you take those key phrases and then you put them into your write-up. And it should be things like super powerful searches, pizza near me. If you've ever asked the question, where's pizza near me? Then you're going to want to check out this place in Hanover, New Hampshire, or wherever, right? Called Two Chucks Pizza in Hanover in the Upper Valley. They have the best brick oven pizza, right? So you're putting these keywords in there. You have to be careful not to intentionally stack them, because you can be violated. So you want to write it up in such a way that it's a normal sentence, right? But when you can take these keywords and write them up into a normal sentence, you put the video out there, what's going to happen is Google's Google. It's going to live on forever. Once it starts to rank and people start putting in their jewelers in Hanover, Pennsylvania, or restaurants near me, Charleston, South Carolina, or something, all of a sudden you stop popping up in these videos. I say let YouTube and Google, once you put it there and you understand the optimization and you understand the hashtags and the importance and the vitalness of the description, the title description, it's just time then. Just let time happen.
All right. I like that, man. I like that. So now that you've had this for this company for about what, a year and a half, 2 years?
Yeah, something about that. Yeah, year and a half.
What have been some of the success stories from those people doing it at a high level? Like you can go back and say, wow, you know what? You did such a great job because of this, right? So that we can learn and not make mistakes. What would you say are best practices?
To do it.
Yeah.
And don't worry. Right.
So it goes back to consistency.
Right. Yeah. Just do it. And don't worry about messing up, because that's what editing is for. You screw up in the middle of the thing, just say, screw it. So everybody, and right, you just jump right back into it. So a success story, right, is my friend Susan. I've known Susan for years. She was a team leader at Keller Williams in Church Falls Church, whatever it is, Virginia. She moved down to Valdosta, Georgia, where she didn't know anybody. And Susan's a grandma, right? I love her. And this is great because everybody from a grandma down to a noob can do this, right? And so she was in that area. The only person she knew was her daughter. She moved down there, to see the grandbabies and such. She called me one day. She goes, in tears, she goes, Johnny, I'm having such a hard time breaking in down here. And she was a coach and everything else like that. She goes, I don't know what to do. I think we're going to have to get out of the business. I said, Susan, why don't you just try starting doing a few videos? So this was October of 2021, I guess. I don't even know. It all blends together. And so a year later, right now, she's in a brand new market. She doesn't need in a brand new market where the average sale price is about 200, right? So it's not like Malibu, right? And she was happy, excited, tickled pink that she did 6 million last year in an area where she wasn't able to break in. She was able to go ahead and close 30 sales or something, whatever the number was, right? And she wasn't able to get in B&I, and because, you know, if you ain't from here, you ain't from here, right? It's that clicky kind of thing. Now, next thing you know, months later, she's interviewing the regional director, and she's got businesses reaching out to her saying, hey, can you do a video on us? She's at open houses and somebody's coming in saying, hey, you're the lady that does the videos. She's going to do FISBOs up against 4 or 5 other agents, and they're like, oh, you're the lady that does those videos. You're hired, right? So
dude, I like
the success story is the consistency. And I love Susan. I think her videos are authentically perfect. Now, you can still sometimes see the selfie stick in there if she's holding that, or whatever we call those things these days, stabilizers. Sometimes she forgets her mic and the audio is a little funky, and we work with it. The key is she did it, right? Jake Dixon posted today, imperfect action beats perfect inaction. So be imperfectly perfect.
You know what I always hear? Jeff Fitzer. He says, my crappy video will outdo your non-existent video.
100%.
Like,
100%. And that's the thing. Just do it. Doesn't matter whether you screw it up, because you can edit it out. My very first video, which was the inspiration for Explore My Town, I didn't have a holder. I didn't have mics or anything. I didn't even have a hat. I went in. I wanted Tristan. You live out in the world of dreams. I live in New England, and out in the world of dreams, you can probably get a donut this big with s'mores on it and Captain Crunch or whatever you want, like voodoo donuts and things. We don't have that. I searched one day, gourmet donuts near me, and I found this place on Kelly Street. So I drove over there and I walked in. It was this tiny little place on a Sunday. The lady's working, and I'm talking to them because I talk a lot. And I started talking. I said, are you the owner? She goes, yes. I said, what's your name? She goes, Denise. I saw the light. I saw the sparkle in her eyes, and I saw that in my own mother, because my own mother owned businesses. I've worked for her, right, for years. And I said, you know what? That's the answer. These people want to tell their story.
Dude, I love that.
Nobody asks them about them. Ask people about their passion, their purpose. They want to talk about it.
That's true. And that goes across everywhere, right? It's you start sharing the stories of those people that make the community. And at that point, people start sharing those because it's their community.
We are a community. That's what it will say on our app. And, our friend Saul taught me years ago. He's like, it's all about community, online community, offline community. It's all about building your own community. So when you're able to build your own community within the community, supporting the community, man, that is a movement, and people want to be part of it.
I like that, man. All right. So now let's talk about how you're able to scale this, because we do have real estate agents here. We have business owners, and they hear me talk about how we've got a ton of virtual assistants. But how is it that you do it to be able to scale the business that you have? And then what do you recommend to those people that you're helping in regards to being able to help them scale too?
The first thing anybody needs to do is understand what it is they're trying to do, right? So to have a vision, and it doesn't have to be a big vision. I got a lofty vision of helping thousands of communities and doing his work, right? And giving back to the communities. It doesn't have to be that big. Let's break it down to like an individual or a small business that's trying to scale, or a real estate agent that's trying to scale. Leverage is your best friend, right? Leverage is your best friend. You can't do it all, nor should you be doing it all. You should be meeting with clients, customers, and guiding the growth of the company in the direction of the company. That's your job. Job as a CEO. With that comes certain responsibilities of other people, because now you are not responsible for yourself, you're responsible for other people. So you have to look internally and start to work on some internal issues, and digest books and listen to podcasts and listen to books and become a better leader, if you would, better manager, because you're being moved into that role. Then you need to draft out what it is that you're trying to do and put the pieces in place of who's going to do what, because it's not going to be me, Tristan, right? So you have to say, okay, if I want to do video editing, let's start there. I need a video editor. I hire a video editor. Okay, now I need graphics. I need this. I need these other things. Eventually, you're going to need an operations manager that now you just answer to you create the standard and you report. The operations manager reports to you. That person will then take care of the graphics, the everything that's needed for the video, the editing and such like that. And through our process, that goes right over to the marketing manager, right? Through Monday.com, it's just, okay, you're notified, distribute these assets. And once they're approved. So you need to have the right systems, systems aren't just software. Systems are the process. I went to school for CIS. That's how computer information systems. That's how I got into networking. So understanding how the ones and zeros travel and how to get them to the destination. It's the same thing with what we're doing. If you want to put video together, you need to do video. You need to do consistent social media. Get a virtual assistant. It will free you from that. Get a virtual assistant for your transaction management. If you can pay somebody $10 to $15 an hour to do $10 to $15 an hour work, so you can go do $500 an hour work, you're ripping yourself off by not, right? So you need to put your structure in place. Who's going to handle operations, what's happening for social media, and then, because it's not the virtual assistant's job to come up with your strategy. It's either yours or your chief marketing officer's, right? And that's where a lot of people make the mistake. They abdicate their responsibilities.
Well, I think that's where they start failing from the very beginning, this misconception of what it is that the person they're hiring has to do, right?
Tristan, I've been through a lot of personal development, everything from speech coaches to listening to, Toastmasters. Everybody should join Toastmasters, right? They're across the country, and you learn tonality, you learn emphasis, you learn to slow down with your presentations and stuff. Because Ryan Folan, I took the 313 with him, and, understand that I want to get everything down to one sentence. If I can explain who my avatar is, the problem I'm trying to solve, and my solution down to one sentence, I'm winning, right? I ask you as a real estate agent, hey, what do? Do you know all of a sudden what happens is I'm out. I'm done. But if you can say, I helped to reduce the amount of inventory that's for sale between a buyer and a seller on the real estate market. Oh, I mean, that's a little bit, I just spitballed that one. That's a little bit different than saying, I'm a real estate agent and I do, right? So being very intentional with what it is, being able to speak and articulate what it is, and then driving people to websites or landing pages that are simple to get to, kind of like I just did, right? That then explains everything to say, for me, what I tell people and what I train our partners to say too, when people say, well, what do you do? What do you want to do with us, right? It's like, well, Explore My Town is a national brand, a national media company that supports local communities and small businesses through our video platform, right? That's all we say. Whoa, that's pretty ingenious, right? But what does it cost? It doesn't cost you anything. We get thousands of eyes on your videos. Would that be important for you?
So in the world that we're in right now, what virtual assistant would you hire first? If you're looking at business owners, where would you say, hey, this is the first one that I want you to hire?
My right hand, my operations manager, because my operations manager, I'm going to train everything to. They're going to be responsible to me. So we're going to set up all the SOPs, the communication practices, and everything up front. And then all we have to do is duplicate that. And then that person becomes theoretically in charge of the people that then report to her. Right. In my case, her, right. It can be a him. But in my case, Joyce is my operations manager. She handles all the videos coming. You imagine we're doing editing for a lot of different people. Videos are coming in, right? There has to be a system created, which I created, that gets dropped into their specific project folder. Then it gets organized, the assets and the graphics for that video. Then that gets put into the work order, then gets moved over and assigned to an editor. When the editor gets it, they get all their pieces in place. They got the raw footage, the B-roll, the graphics, anything additional that we're using. They edit it, and then they can send it off to the client for review and approval. At the same time, the distribution language, the descriptions and things are being written up, the thumbnails being done. So when the client finally approves it, it's ready to go. Everybody has it. So the operations manager is the spearhead of all that. So start with that first, because that becomes your right hand.
Did you take time to outline those job duties first or no? Or how did you get those job duties? How did you decide, hey, this is what my operations manager is going to do?
This is the worst part. This is 100% the worst part. And this is why most people abdicate. takes a lot of time, takes a lot of thought, takes a lot of energy. And I made a conscious decision to step out of production to be able to do all of this and write the systems and build I built the systems, right? And I built them because I know what they needed to do and wanted to do. By the time I explained, so all I had to do was train her what happens next and what to do. I would 100% start with at least the bullet point of what you want that person to accomplish. Because if they don't know what you want, they will never know what you want. You'll never be happy or satisfied. So I would bullet point some level of SOP, standard operating procedure, of what we're trying to accomplish, right? And then over time, we keep a running document. That way we can change it. If we bring on somebody new that's taken over something, let's say they're taking over transcriptions and templates, then all of a sudden we just created that new position. We're able to move them off of her, write that SOP. But if you don't know what each individual person is responsible for, there's no way that they do.
Dude,
And that's where that is the key. I didn't mean to interrupt you. That's where Michael Gerber in the E-Myth will talk about abdication and delegation. And I see it and I'm very conscious of, all right, am I abdicating this or am I delegating this? Right? Because I have abdicated in the past, and every time I do, it costs me a lot of money.
Dude, I know. We're always in growth mode. So I feel you. I'm always between both, and I'm like, ooh, I should be delegating that. Ooh, oh crap. All right. So it happens. All right, Johnny Mo, thank you so much for jumping on. And if you want to know more about Johnny Mo's product, what's the exact website, Johnny Mo?
ExploreMyTown.com.
All right, just like his hat. And obviously, if you need a virtual assistant, we use Virtudesk. I'm not the owner in any way. That's Pablo. Pablo is the CEO. He's a good friend of both of ours. So check them out, myvirtudesk.com. It's in the link. Thanks again. And if you haven't joined our group, it's the Leverage Group. Johnny Mo's a moderator there. So am I. We're just giving back some of our time to help you grow your business. So Johnny Mo, thanks again, buddy. Appreciate it.
You got it. Thanks for having me. And everybody just get out there and do it. Just do it.
That's right. Thanks, buddy.